Oh, big night.
Here we
Let's
are.
talk money.
Can't take it back now, man.
Yeah.
I think that every time I go live, not that all the 3 times that I've gone live on our stuff, can't
Thank
put it
you
back
so
in the
much.
box now, man.
Thank you so much for joining us. This has been so eagerly anticipated by a whole group of people. I can't even tell you how much fun we're looking forward to having tonight.
All right. I dig it, man. I appreciate you guys having me. It's going to be awesome. We're in the new office, in the new Red Arrow office here. So just got moved in last week, pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
all the way anyway. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You need to hang
And
one
we
of
got
those.
it's actually an interesting little fact. The local Masonic Lodge meets in the upstairs of this building, in this office building. So if you hear some stomping or some strange chanting, it's none of my people. So
Are they sacrificing one of your deer tonight up there?
they could be. I don't know what they do up there. There's all kind of conspiracy videos you can get on in the internet, but I don't actually know what they do. I hear some stomping occasionally. So
it's actually just a bunch of good old boys having a good time, telling their wives they got to leave for the night. And
I honestly think that's what it is. Yeah, it's a little fraternity action. So, but yeah, man.
Well, good. Well, I want to talk a little bit tonight about what you're kind of doing, a little bit about some of the past stuff you've done. But, I'd really like to start it off the right way. And people know you for your hunting and all you do, but also because you're just freaking hilarious.
Well,
I don't know how that stuff comes through your head, but it's awesome.
The old saying, necessity breeds invention. We got into the industry with no political ties, no friends in the industry. I didn't have a trust fund. I just we were talking earlier today about how Red Arrow got started and some different things. But I was in college and I did the pilot of Red Arrow for a class project. And when we first got into the industry,
so you wouldn't have to go to class, Kip?
100%. And I tell that story all the time. It's just basically I was thinking how can I play lacrosse and chase women and not have to go to class, but still somehow pass my courses? I went to military school for right across the street here is Fort Union Military Academy. A lot of people familiar with that because there's a lot of NFL guys that have come through our school. It's a big football school, but I went to military school for 8 years, and then I got to college, and I was thinking, all right, this is my vacation, which is terrible. In my adult life, I'm thinking, I'm totally kind of against that sort of mentality of I'll just go to college and have a good time. But that's where my head was at when I went, because that's just what we thought about college back then. And so I thought to myself, all right, I'm in the communications department. How can I still get good grades, not fail out of school, hunt all the time, and not go to class? And my buddies were like, well, that's technically impossible. And I said, all right, watch this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to make these hunting videos. We're going to check out the school's cameras. We're going to use the school's equipment to edit it. And then we're going to present it at the end of the year. And I actually went around to all my professors and said, hey, I'm going to miss a lot of class, but I'm going to turn in really cool videos. And they all said kind of the same thing. We'll give you a grace period to see if you're turning in cool videos. And if you are, then we'll talk about some of the missing class kind of stuff. I ended up getting out of a ton of my classes, and I just had to show up for the final exams and pass.
Yeah.
And then turn in these hunting videos. And they were good enough and entertaining enough to where my teachers kind of got off my back and at least gave me a passing grade. I won't say I definitely wasn't a valedictorian, but I passed. I have a college degree. Believe it or not, America, I have a college degree. And so you get into the early years of Red Arrow, and I thought to myself, well, I don't have any money. I don't have any ties in the industry. I don't have any help. What am I going to do to make a name for myself? I was like, well, I like to kill things and show off. Those are the two traits I'm most proud of. I'm really good at killing stuff and showing off. So I thought, okay, I can monetize this, and people have to watch terrible commercials anyway. We might as well make the commercials fun and entertaining. So we just sort of ran with that.
And you do it for every sponsor every year. every one of them is hilarious. I remember I was hooked the first time I saw the Polaris birthday commercial,
Yeah.
uh, and
Yeah. Oh
just
yeah.
laughed
People
my
like that
tail
one, man.
off.
Yeah.
And everyone for us has just been hilarious since. So I want to we posted
I
a couple
appreciate
of
it, man.
outtakes today, but I wanted to share one of those just real quick if I could
Okay. Yeah.
with guys tonight.
Sure. Absolutely.
So I think
Oh, here we go.
they
Look
could
at you
see it
all.
here.
Look at you, Dan Drake. All
But I tell you
technology
what,
savvy, man.
we're gonna give it a
Hey.
shot here. All right.
The Wuhan virus.
So
Help me, Nancy Pelosi, use your Satan witchcraft to get the coronavirus off of me. I need to do more cardio. I just felt like I ate a plate of bat sushi. We should have never went to that nursing home pool party. Help me! I got the COVID on me! Help me, Dan Drake! Use your magical ozone powers to kill this virus! I got the Kung Flu! Get it out! This is the most exercise I've gotten in 3 years. Cardio.
Absolutely, just all of them are funny, and I think you said you've got like almost 2 hours of that stuff we could show.
Oh yeah, and the outtakes that we can't show because we will get what's the new thing? We'll get cancel culture. Will jump all over us.
Yeah,
Those are the best outtakes, Dan. Like, and they're not even that edgy. For like 20 years ago, nobody would have batted an eyelash at them. But there's some of the ones we quote unquote can't show are probably the funniest ones. But I dig that too. That was edgy enough. That was probably way too edgy for some people. Getting a little, I guess what you would call political. I just think it's hilarious, but I guess you would call it political.
well, there's some people that like Nancy Pelosi. I don't know any of those people myself, but you offended them.
Even the ones that are related to her, I do not know how that's possible anymore. So,
well, let's go back a little bit. I know a couple years ago you took some time off.
Yeah.
Got Lyme disease, and that's so super serious. Can you talk just a little bit about that now?
Dude, it was so that was something that took root before we realized it, and it was really, God had a hand in kind of making us aware of it because it was a struggle for my wife and I to kind of know what was going on. It was like I just all of a sudden, college athlete, very healthy, just went from that to being, man, I can't get out of bed in the morning, and I got this brain fog that when I get up, it would take me 2 or 3 hours to get right to then like start my day, just to get out of the fog in the morning, and that's when it started of us looking into like, all right, something's wrong. What's going on here? And extreme fatigue, all of that sort of led us down the. Fortunately, a hunting guide, a buddy of mine down in South Carolina, he had dealt with a lot of the same stuff. Unfortunately, it took him probably 20 years to identify the chronic Lyme's that he was dealing with. So it got a hold of him pretty good. And anyway, I sort of got a lot of knowledge from him, and I ended up taking a test, and it was like 97% of the Lyme's disease symptoms, I checked yes to. Went in, and I probably went through 4 doctors before I found somebody who was knowledgeable. Because Lyme's very much like COVID, which we were just joking about in that commercial. It's kind of a very polarizing kind of thing. You get a tick bite and you got the bullseye, and they give you, 2 weeks worth of doxycycline or some kind of antibiotic.
Back, yeah,
and think it's good to go. What they miss is the fact that there's a Lyme disease protocol that a lot of doctors are kind of catching up to now. That is a whole immune system building thing that we missed out on. If you just take the standard, go to your normal practitioner, who's a general practitioner guy, he's not going to have that knowledge that the Lyme specialist might. he's going to give you a test from 1975 that has false positives, false negatives. You don't even really know if you got the disease. And then there's a new test out there now that's super accurate, and it even gets down to telling you what strains of Lyme's disease you actually are dealing with, because there's like 100 and some different strains of it. Kind of scary stuff. And the good news is, though, it can be treated. It can be, for all intents and purposes, cured. But your immune health is what suffers. And a lot of people don't realize, okay, man, we knocked out the Lyme's disease, but now we've ruined our gut. Our immune system's still down and all these other things. So it was only when I got to some of those specialists and got the immune system built back up that I was actually able to sort of conquer it. And I feel great now. I mean, I'm feeling when I finally got over that hump, and it took me a couple years, honestly. But when I finally got over that hump, I felt like I was 18 years old again, and it was like a new lease on life, honestly.
So now you're out, you're in the thick of it again. You've got your gun brand and all that stuff. You are unbelievable, lead show on the Pursuit channel. I mean, it's amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. I got one on me right now, man. I come prepared all the time. Are we gonna get banned? Are we gonna get banned? Whatever platform we're on.
We all should be protected.
I actually designed this one myself. This is coming out if the COVID shipping crisis ever gets over with. We're gonna release this. This is actually a 22 caliber, believe it or not. Little fun.
Well, those are cheap to shoot.
Squirrel hunting rig right here, man. You can do a lot of good training with it, and take the bolt carrier out of it, and it's a 5.56.
That's you put that in your kid's arm and go play.
Absolutely, man. Throw it down in your backpack and do what you got to do. Well,
so tell us a little bit about what you've been doing this year, kind of, what you're looking at.
Man, I've been doing all kind of stuff this year. I mean, if it's not a mess that we're in this country right now, it'll do till the mess gets here, because I stole that line off of No Country for Old Men. But I'm buying land in Texas. I know that's kind of cliche right now, but I'm buying land in Texas because I fell in love with Texas many, many years ago. And I've been currently I've got a 2,000 lease down there that is just, you got to buckle your chin straps for the hog show we got coming out. It's just ridiculous. I took my kids down there, and we killed as many hogs as we could possibly kill in Texas in 4 days, I think it was, which I think it ended up being like 23 hogs we all killed between
using thermals and stuff, or just
mostly bow and arrow and a couple AR-15s here and there. But we just have so much fun when we go down to Texas, and for me it just makes so much sense as far as like body count stuff. If I'm going to be blunt, as far as what we can get on TV shows, I can go down Texas and spot and stalk hogs. I can do some crazy, fair chase spot and stalk on like a fallow deer on bottoms. I can hunt all that. There's so much in Texas. Plus, they still love America and freedom and all that good stuff. So
you do 3 shows in a week down there. You mentioned you were looking for something big, as much because you want to take your family down there with you. Let everybody.
Dude, I'm not, dude. I kill big deer. I've killed what I consider big deer, a lot of big deer, but I'm not a trophy hunter at the end of the day. I love taking my kids. I love having fun with my friends. I love ripping around on rangers and shooting stuff with the AR-15, going 35 miles an hour with my hair on fire. I mean, that's my lifestyle down there. And my roots are in Virginia, and I want to stay here and sort of. Right now, we're fighting for our rights. I mean, I'm not trying to get political on this particular live stream, but I want to keep a foothold in Virginia and share time here. But man, as far as like riding around and being free and killing stuff, Texas is where we're headed. And I'm still always going to hunt the Midwest. We got some amazing elk hunts booked for next year. I'm kind of after the Lyme's disease, because I got really scared. I mean, it was like dude, I had heart palpitations and weird, all this stuff, the residual effects from Lyme disease. I was scared to go elk hunting for a few years there. I mean, I killed a 7x8, 370-inch bull in Colorado.
Wow.
And 55 yards with my bow and arrow, man. It was, dude, I can feel the adrenaline pumping through me right now just talking about it. Elk hunting is one of my favorite things to do, and I can't wait next year to kind of get back into it because I was tentative. I'll be honest with you. Like when I went through all that health stuff, I was like, man, what if I get way out here in the middle of nowhere and have some kind of problem, Because my central nervous system and everything got so jacked up that, people have no idea. And I'm kind of one of those guys. You're probably the same way. Like surface level, I'm not trying to show everybody. I'm not dumping my purse on the street. I'm not emptying my purse on the sidewalk for everybody to see. I'm not trying to show everybody all the stuff that my family and I went through with that illness. It was extensive. It was terrifying. It was really bad. And it put us in a really bad place as far as knowing if we could continue on with it. That was the whole reason, like we talked about earlier, I had to take a year off.
So are you?
So I didn't mean to get off topic, but yeah.
No, well, that actually kind of leads me in because this is a little interactive, and we've got people on asking questions. And there was a question here since we're back to lines, which is from Robin Egbert. She goes, "Do vitamin C, D3, zinc also help with Lyme? So is there a vitamin regimen you're on today, or could be pre getting a tick bite that would help?"
No, absolutely. You need, and I would recommend this to everybody too. And I never would have thought I'd say this before, before I had to deal with it all, but blood tests and knowing like what levels are out of whack is super important. So if you're feeling a little bit weird or not like yourself or extreme fatigue, I would say go get a blood test. Go to the right person and get a blood test and see where your levels are. Because it could be a lot of immune deficiency type stuff that is caused by the disease if you're dealing with that kind of stuff. But what was the original question? I'm sorry.
Well, the question was, do vitamin C, D3, zinc help with Lyme's disease? And with that, I'm asking, is there a specific regimen that you would suggest that people go on to prevent it?
So, I actually, when they first I got the proper diagnosis, I went on a heavy vitamin C regimen. And I would just say, I take vitamin D every day. I take vitamin C, and I would say that you really need to get a specialist to say, hey, here's where your levels are right now, and get a baseline.
Specifically, yeah.
Like, it's so important because if not, you're just taking somebody's word for it. So like if you get a blood test and say, okay, hey, these levels are out of whack, or I need to do this or that, it made all the difference in the world. When I got the actual, and my wife are here, she's out with my son right now, but she would know the name of that test, and I could help some people with that. I can post it on our site or whatever. Man, I'll think as soon as we turn this off, I'll think of it. But there's a certain test that you need to request if you have symptoms and you feel like, hey, I have extreme fatigue, I've got a lot of tick bites in my life or whatever. There's a specific test that you need to request. Maybe I'll throw up a post tomorrow or something on our social media.
Yeah, look at it. There'll be comments you can respond
because
to.
Your normal practitioner will do the test from 1975 that has like 50-50 false positives and false negatives, so you just can't tell. But just the blood test baseline, and then just go from there, and just get to somebody who's knowledgeable and knows about vitamins and knows what supplements you need for your immune health. An immune specialist is really important with it.
Best. So you were talking a little bit about wanting to go back and hunt Colorado, and you didn't this year.
I can't wait. Dude, I feel so good. Dude, I feel so good right now. I almost have an energy level of like Ted Nugent, Donald Trump kind of level. And for the first time in a while too, man. Like that's what you have to understand. Like for the first time in a while, I'm so ready to get back out in the elk woods. Colorado is one of my favorite places. Montana, it's phenomenal. I killed a really big bull in Montana a few years ago. And you know, I just can't wait to get back after it, man. Utah, we're going to Utah next year, so.
It feels like we've been shut down. Are you going to? Will you be at all the shows this year too? Will you be at ATA? Will you be at the Great American Outdoor Show and?
Oh yeah,
and NWTF in Nashville and
absolutely.
Late January.
I'm actually I want to go to NWTF for the first time. Crazy, I have never been, but I just for whatever reason, everybody tells me how great of a show it is. Yeah. So I want to get out there this year for sure. Yeah.
And we'll see you at ATA.
Oh yeah, I'll be at ATA. Yeah. Yeah, a couple years.
Having it in a friendly state, I think that's going to help.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt, man. Still America. There's a lot of states that aren't America anymore.
Yeah,
it's getting weird out there.
You know, it's everybody. We talked about this a little bit before, and we could make this into a whole different type of podcast. We won't, but we both agree we have rights in America, and we need.
You dang right, son. Hey, and
amen.
Thank God, thank the good Lord Jesus Christ for the Constitution, man. If we didn't have that right now, we'd be hurting. We'd be Australia, wouldn't we?
Or New Zealand, yeah.
Yeah.
China.
I'm glad Dan, I'm glad I got my New Zealand hunting out of the way. I was blessed to be able to go out to New Zealand twice in my life. And man, we had a ball. I'd love to go back, but not right now. not in the current situation. I'd be getting tased on an airplane right now. Put my what back on my face? You know, I don't know.
So we were talking earlier, and you know, I think, and I probably thought so wrongly, but you know, with how patriotic you are and stuff, I thought you were military ranger, special forces through stuff.
No way,
you know, with your own gun brand.
I can't claim that. I'm just a good old redneck that loves to shoot stuff, man. I went. It's funny too that you say that because a lot of my buddies, you know, several of my buddies are military, and I went to military school, like, you know, middle school and high school for 8 years. And
did your parents send you there? Or was that choice?
Well, so I was kind of born into it because in my little small town, there's nothing here but the military school, and my granddad was the commandant at the military school. So he's, you know, he did 2 years in the 82nd Airborne, and then, they moved out here, and he took over as an English teacher and a football coach, and eventually was the commandant and head football coach out there. He coached he coached Vinny Testaverde and a bunch of NFL players at the school. So when I grew up, it was kind of just understood, like, yep, you're going to military school, you know. So, I didn't really know. So I spent 8 years in the military school, in the military structure. And I thought to myself, all right, well, I want to go to college and have a good time. And it's the wrong way to think about college. I'm teaching my kids way different. I'd rather them pour themselves into a trade or study something and become an expert at it instead of going to one of these institutions that brainwash you with liberalism and anything else. But again, we could get off on another podcast. But back when I was going to high school, I thought, okay, I'm gonna go party for 4 years and have a good time. And I was a lacrosse, you know, I played football, I ran track and played lacrosse in high school. And I got a scholarship for lacrosse to college. So I thought to myself, how can I be in this school, play lacrosse, and, you know, somehow pass and still hunt all the time, or hunt as much as I possibly can. So I got in the communications department, started checking out cameras. I learned how to edit. And then I made very long story short, I made the pilot for Red Arrow in college as a class project. And then so my intention the whole entire time is like college was going to be this period of time in my life when I was going to go play around in college, have a good time playing lacrosse, and then I was going to join the military. That was always my goal because my dad's a retired police officer in charge of gang task force and narcotics unit and SWAT team member and all this stuff. So I was either my two career fields that I had in mind
Law
was either
enforcement or military.
Well, 100% without a doubt. And that's why it was funny that you said that to me earlier, because every single one of my friends were just assumed that's what I was going to do. Because that's sort of my passion. That's a lot of, like I said, a lot of friends, family, and all, went that direction. And so I make the pilot for Red Arrow TV. I send it into the network thinking like, I'm just an old redneck boy from Virginia. They're going to reject this haphazard, college project thing. No, they picked me up for 26 weeks. And I was like, oh my, what do we do now? We got to go make.
Next thing you know, you're the hunting comedian, and all your buddies are headed off to special forces, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And now it's like, it's because one of my buddies I'm kind of in business with right now is retired 7th group guy, special forces. And, it's all sort of come full circle, and he's wanting to get into the hunting side of things now that he's retired. And we're working together on some of the projects of another company I started that we haven't announced anything yet, but yeah, the gun company, man, it was it just came out of nowhere. But like I said, what started off as a college project grew into, okay, now you're approved for television. And man, I had no money, I had no contacts in the industry, I had nothing. And it was like all of a sudden this TV channel approved your show to be a 26-week deal. And I'm like, how do I make 13 of these shows? Like, there's no way. So then we poured ourselves into it. I was like,
took
all right,
you 9 months to make one, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to school, playing ball and doing all that stuff. So it took us a long time to make just the one. And I'm thinking, okay, let's give it 2 years and just see what happens. Well, then we get into the hater phase, and any of you guys starting a hunting show or if you're starting a business or whatever it is, there's a hater phase where everybody's going to say, "Oh, you still doing that hunting thing? Like, why don't you get a real job?"
Right. Yeah.
As soon as I heard that, I think it was year 2 of Red Arrow, I started hearing a lot of that. As soon as I heard that, it was like I'm pouring myself. It's going to be either this is going to kill me or I'm going to be the best, and I'm gonna put all these haters to sleep with this thing. So my wife and I just poured ourselves into the TV show, and I don't know, man. The rest is history. We're in season 14, and we've won maybe a couple awards, just a few. And
so there's a question here by Mike.
Maybe in the top of the ratings and the whole. By the way, Pursuit Channel is crushing everything else out there. There are millions of households and viewerships ahead of everything. And as far as like Nielsen ratings go, we're at the top of the heap right now. So
congratulations. That's awesome.
Maybe to the guys that bumped into me at the grocery store 13 years ago.
I'm just telling you, I made it.
You still doing that hunting crap?
Yeah,
still doing it.
So we've got a question here from Mike Meldy, who's like, who comes up with all that great content for your commercials? Is that you? Is that your wife? Is it somebody else on your team? Is it?
It's a combination, I guess, man. I come up with a lot of it. I bounce it off of her and some of our producers. And man, it's the stuff that we write when we sit down at a table and we write stuff. 90, and I'm not exaggerating, 90% of it never gets done because it's either too outlandish or way over budget. So if you think about the world, like you think about a Super Bowl commercial, or you think about a John Woo movie or a freaking Steven Spielberg, like the infinite world of what they have to work with. And then you take it down to the hunting industry is a big deal, obviously. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, but the amount of like, okay, I got to do this in 15 seconds on this budget. Right. And so literally 90% of my ideas, I'm like, well, I can't hire another actor, and I'm not an actor. I just figured it out. I figured out best I could, but yeah, it's an interesting undertaking, no doubt about it. And my biggest thing too is like I wanted to be real with people, and I wanted to be entertaining, because you're gonna get bombarded with advertisements on the hunting industry, on the hunting channel. So I wanted to do two things. I wanted to believe in, and I've made some mistakes. Don't get me wrong. You could go over my track record and go, he represented that, and I was like, yeah. I thought at the time that was a good thing, and it wasn't. But I think everybody's been there. But I wanted to be authentic in what I was saying. So I wanted to say, Scent Crusher, and I told you that I geek out about it. It's one of my favorite things. It changes the way you approach hunting 100%. And so I want to believe that in my heart, and then I want to step out and make super entertaining stuff for people. I want to do right by my sponsors and promote their product. So I have to believe in it, first of all. The second thing is the fans are what's important to me 100%. So I want to make sure that they're entertained by it. They got to sit there and watch the commercials anyway. They might as well be laughing their ass off. So.
Well, and you know what? When we watch your show, you're just as excited about killing a doe. And we'll kill a doe for fun, because
why not?
It's food for your family, and it's part of hunting, and that's where it is.
When you lose that, and I think it's an ego thing. I honestly think, like, I try to wake up every day and do enough things that kill my ego to put me in that place where I'm not in competition with you. Like, if you kill a big buck and we're in camp together, I'm doing cartwheels, dude. I'm so excited. And that's the way that all of us should be as hunters. And honestly, man, the hate train needs to just pull into the station and stop, because honestly, we're all hunters.
There's only a few of us, and we have to be on the same team to stand up for what we believe in and how we do it. Yep.
No doubt about it, man. You see all this stuff online about, he's not a real hunter because X, Y, and Z. Yep. Well, unless he's doing something that's extremely unethical. No, he's part of our brotherhood, and he's part of the team. And I don't get tired of it. I mean, maybe some people do, and they gotta. And I honestly do think it's an ego thing. I think a lot of guys have to validate their own insecurities with, well, I killed a 160, and he's this and he's that. Like, oh, great. I don't need that. Like I said, I'd be happy running down hogs at 35 miles an hour with my hair on fire with AR-15 going full auto in Texas. I'll be doing just fine, man. And going out and shooting a couple does and maybe occasionally a nice buck. You know what I mean?
Hey, Kip, can you get us a helicopter in Texas to hang out of with your guns and just slaughter some pigs?
It's fueled up and ready. I've already got the guy. I've got the place. I've got the ground. I've got the helicopter. I've got the pilot. Everything's ready. It's ready.
I have always wanted to do that. Oh my goodness! What a hoot!
Oh yeah. No, we are gonna do it. I promise you that we're gonna do it. I've been meaning to do it for a couple of years. Old Nugent did it several times, and we went down to hang out with him at a concert and did some hunting with him, and it looks like a whole lot of fun to me. I don't know.
I agree.
Yeah.
You were talking earlier about your family. There was a question here from Jenny Criswell about, do you separate your family time from your hunting time, or do you mix it in together? How do you make it all work now? Because
I can kill a lot more.
Or your kids you can give us their ages, but they need you. You're as busy as you are.
Oh yeah, girls.
Yeah, bring them in. We'd love to see them.
Y'all want to come be on TV? Just fuck you in here. My son's out in the car.
Cute.
All right, this is Izzy.
Hi.
And that's Addie.
Hi.
All right, so they're killers. They've killed lots of stuff. Izzy recently in Texas, she shot a 300-pound hog, dropped him in his tracks, and then I coached her through shooting at the rest of the pack running.
Yeah.
She 10 ring heart shot a hog. What was it, about probably 150-pound hog running wide open at 150 yards with AR-15.
How old are you, Izzy?
You tell me an AR-15 is too hard for women to use,
Oh
Democrat.
my goodness, that's awesome.
Anyway, and Addie, Addie killed probably 270 boar with tusks like this, and they have a good time, man. But anyway,
so you're dragging them into the middle of it, and they're all just
100%. And I actually have there's a great talking point right here too, because one of the travesties of the hunting industry right now, honestly, and I've seen it. It's kind of a weird phenomenon. Like I was raised, like there's dad gutting a deer, and here we're delivering a calf, like pulling a calf out. Like we understand how all this stuff works because truth was what was important. Like this is the truth. This is the real world. We're not gonna sugarcoat anything. We're not gonna pad it for you. You're gonna have to see it and then be okay with it because that's the way it is. And so a lot of hunters today too, and especially, the family dynamic gets involved. Y'all can go. Y'all don't have to, I know y'all are like,
thank you guys.
The girls are like, the family dynamic.
Whatever, I'm here, Dad.
So what I'm saying is I've seen a couple of my buddies do this. Like, oh no, I told the kids to go inside because we're gutting this deer. I was like, whoa, not my good buddies, by the way, my acquaintances. And I'm like, hold up, what you mean the kids got to go inside because we're gutting this deer? They need to help. They need to get in the gut pile. What are we doing? Are we pretending this isn't real? Are we ashamed of this? No way, man. Like that needs to be part of the culture. So to answer your question, I could be in some big buck, with all the clout, and this isn't me tooting my own horn, but with where Red Arrow has come to, I could be in some of the best spots in the world right this minute, probably hunting down a 200-inch deer or something. I don't know, but I'd rather spend this time with them. We've got food plots planted. I've got the family home place. There's not very many big bucks on it. I mean, it's a couple 2-year-olds we're probably going to shoot, but I'd much rather be with them doing this. And that's what hunting is all about to me. And if you kill a big buck, great, but I would much rather take them hunting and have that experience with them. I mean, and that's it for me. So getting them immersed in it and telling the truth in all things, like that can span your whole entire life. It doesn't have to just be hunting. It just needs to be truth in all things, and then you're going to be okay. You almost can't go wrong if you're just seeking truth in all things. So like I said, some of my acquaintances that were saying they wanted to keep their kids like, oh, don't show them us gutting the deer. No. Show it to them. Then explain it to them. Dan, I had the privilege, with everything going on the way it is nowadays, I can in good conscience send our kids to the local public school. So we send them to a Christian private school down the road. Addie shot a deer one night, and the science teacher brought the whole entire class, her class, to our barn and watched us, gut and skin this deer, and we talked.
Carve it up, yeah.
You would have been blown away. I mean, I was blown away at some of those kids that have come down to Virginia from New York, New Jersey, some of these bigger cities that just. They had a very closed off. Like I don't even like being here. I can't. Like, what are we doing? This is terrible. At the end, they were the ones helping out the most and asking the most questions, and it was because we just dropped a little truth on them. And we said, "Hey, here's the real world, ladies and gentlemen." And I explained to the kids from start to finish the life cycle of a deer and the way we hunt. And I'll put pictures up on the internet tomorrow because I've been meaning to do this post for a while. But I even busted out the gun that she killed it with, which was an AR-15, which is like a dirty word nowadays. But thank God it was a Christian school. The administration didn't care, but it was
They
It
got
was
it.
amazing to see some of those kids that weren't exposed to that come alive and just be like, this is okay. This is not only okay, but it's something that sounds really fun. Look at the relationship that he has with his daughters and his children over this, activity that they're doing. And like, I seriously had 4 kids that were very standoffish at the beginning, like kind of didn't even want to be there, thought it was terrible. At the end, they were the ones, how do I get into hunting? You know what I mean?
And we have to expose more people to that,
100%.
and
100%.
what's going on. I remember the first time I took my daughter out in the stand and I shot a deer and we went and retrieved it and we walked up on it and she's like, Dad, I feel sad for it. I
Yeah.
said, that's absolutely you should. It's
Yeah.
respect. You took a life. You have to respect that. And we sat there and I said, that's okay. That's a feeling you have. I still have that feeling.
Yeah.
And then I made her sit there and hold the bowl while we, gutted it and pulled some back straps out, and then from
Absolutely.
there.
Absolutely. And I think that you hit the nail right on the head when you were saying it's totally, it's totally fine to feel that way because we respect these animals far more than any activist or anybody that, like, way more. That's what 90% of people don't understand. Like, we respect it way more than anybody that's not actively involved in it does, and because we understand the truth and we understand the life cycle of a deer and we understand all these things. And we know that it's not a Disney movie version of deer are people too, kind of ridiculous, brainwashed sort of thing. It's a resource and we respect it and we love it. And, and like you said, we do respect the life that we're taking, but at the same time, we don't equivocate that to, like I said, the Disney version of like deer are people too. There's no such thing as that. You can pretend there is, but it doesn't make it so. So,
absolutely. Are you coming to Kansas Town this year?
Yeah, we were. So here's the deal.
Did you draw? Because that wasn't easy this year. So
I did not. So the Kansas thing is off. Is the short answer. But so I did not draw, and I didn't draw. So Montana, if you're watching this, I love you, and I don't know what problem you have with me. I don't know what the deal is. Like, I thought we were cool. We made sweet bow hunting love together, and apparently you can't call me back. I haven't drawn in Montana in like 4 years, dude. I don't know what the deal is, and it's like I'm talking my hands like old Trump. Like, I don't know what the deal is. Montana won't call me back. I haven't drawn in Montana, and then I didn't draw in Kansas this year. I don't know what the deal, but a buddy of mine called me up through a friend of a friend kind of situation happened. He was like, "Hey, man, he's got landowner tags," and I was like, "I'm pretty sure that's not legal." I don't know what situation they were trying to pitch me on, but we got all fired up that maybe we could hunt in Kansas, and it turns out
no.
We read the regs, and I had to draw. And
they used to do that, but it's probably been 10 years ago or something since they had that stuff really going on.
And that's what I thought initially when I heard it. It sounded too good to be true, and it's. So I'm gonna do a lot of hunting in Texas. I got a Oklahoma place I'm working on. Got a Missouri hunt booked. I've got Ohio hunt booked. Wisconsin's probably gonna happen. Yeah, we got a great Midwest schedule, but we're hedging our bets with Texas. Texas body counts, baby. There's nothing better. Good Lord, I know. It's just it's too much fun. There's so many deer and so many hogs and there's so many weird things that somebody let go 100 years ago down in Texas that are just free ranging the river bottom.
What's this fallow deer coming in here for? What's this access deer doing here? Right.
Yeah. If you hunt it down and you look for the spots, there's free range fallow and axis. There's free range African animals, dude. All dad, poor man sheep hunt. You can't beat it, man. And that's why I'm buying land down there, is because the spot that I'm buying, I can go 3 hours in basically any direction and kill 100 deer and weird exotics free range that, and not to mention hogs all the time, so.
And if you ever eaten Axis, man, you're like, holy cow.
Dude, and see, Axis is one of the only ones that I've never eaten.
It is phenomenal.
So when we went to New Zealand, I killed a bunch of fallow deer, and that was incredible. I don't know if we were just hungry after hiking 14 miles, but it was the most incredible deer meat I've ever had in my entire life.
Well,
so
you'll have a ball with that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And we're gonna get together too, man. We need to link up and go kill stuff together in Texas, because, like I said, I'm serious about the helicopter, and I've got the Rangers gassed up. I mean, who knows what they're gonna cancel on us next with cancel culture? I mean, he's shooting those poor hogs from a helicopter, and then they're mauling. Then they're mauling your grandmother in the yard next week because they're so overpopulated. My kids are dying loud. You can laugh out loud. It doesn't matter. You hear them like fighting.
There's a lot of people from California moving to Texas too. You got to equal that out.
Dude, I know, man. I'm trying to equal it out in America.
Here's a great question too.
I'm flying the black flag all the way down there.
So from Randy at Dunmire, he goes, "What else do you enjoy doing other than hunting?"
Oh man, I am an amateur welder. It turns out I love to weld
for art or just to work on stuff at the house.
Mostly just working on stuff. I built some flagpoles off the back of my trailer. I built a few, repaired some farm implements. I love it, man. My wife got me a Miller
TIG welder.
Miller 220 MIG welder for Christmas.
Yeah,
a couple 2-3 years ago, and I've been messing around with it. So I love to weld. I love tinkering on bows. I've gotten pretty heavy in the last 5 to 7 years in tuning bows and trying to get everything. I'm a perfectionist to a fault, so I like messing with that kind of stuff. I mean, we actually have a cattle farm too. My family anyway, run about 40-50 head of cattle. So we're into all kind of stuff, man. It's I'm also a racing enthusiast. We used to build our own motocross tracks when I was a kid, and Polaris is one of my bigger sponsors, and love racing the Razors and Rangers and Generals and anything. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Skateboarding is something nobody would expect. I have a half pipe in my backyard, and I actually do. I put a post up. If you guys look at my social media, go try to find the skating post.
You know what? We need.
I think I did a 5.0. I think I did a 5.0 grind on that high speed situation on my mini ramp in the backyard. But yeah.
So we need to give away a little gear tonight. So we're going to take the best post about what hobby you should take up.
Oh Lord.
There you go. All right. We're going to let it loose.
Okay. Let's see. This will be good.
You read these tomorrow and we'll talk about
hobby?
it. Okay.
All right. So you're going to give stuff away based on
what they think you should take up as an extra hobby.
Yeah.
And politics doesn't count. You're already
Somebody asked, what's my biggest accomplishment in my life so far? Probably marrying my wife.
And keeping her, because she is a gem.
She is, man. Anybody who would put up with me for this long is pretty good. I had a pretty big hill to climb, man. I'll be honest with you with the wife thing. I had a pretty big hill to climb in college. I unjustly got a reputation as a player. It was a bunch of haters. It was a bunch of haters trying to lie on me, and so I had to convince her. I ended up hitting her over the head with a club and dragging her by her hair, but
So did you meet her in college?
It all worked out in the end. Yeah, I met her in college. Yep. Yep.
We are getting some great comments in here.
She was a sports. If I get this right, she was like basically studying to be a trainer, like So her degree.
Trainer.
I really wish she had a business and marketing degree. We'd have been like on the fast track to Red Arrow would have been the best show in the country in year 3 or whatever. But she was a trainer. She was training in college to be a trainer. And so she worked in the weight room. So that kind of worked out. That's how we sort of met. We met before that, but I always had a girlfriend or she always had a boyfriend. And then finally the stars aligned and I convinced her I wasn't a scumbag and we got married.
We are seeing some great comments here. I see snail catcher, professional bikini waxer, ballet dancer. There was one here that was a lawnmower racing champion, which
gynecologist.
Yeah, we have talked about this actually before. I didn't talk to you, but Chase did about. I think Spartan Mowers is a sponsor of yours.
Yeah.
And, our company also has Mojack, the lawnmower lifts, and we're talking about doing something together on that side of the world. So lawnmower racing, I think that's perfect for.
I think lawnmower racing would be great. I would definitely race a lawnmower. I race the lawnmower every time I cut the grass because I hate it.
Well, now you do it quick with that Spartan mower, don't you?
Oh, dude, those things are phenomenal. They even have an adjustment on the seat that you put your weight in there, and then it's
fat,
like the perfect,
light,
right? You're like fat, skinny, whatever, and then you just it's the perfect, man. It's awesome.
People don't realize this, but we have a whole lawn and garden division. So thanks, we just get a hunt and do that all the time. I leave next week to go to the Outdoor Power and Equipment Show. It's also at Louisville where ATA is going to be. But I got a week doing outdoor power and equipment when I should be hunting.
Yeah. Oh,
all this stuff we do.
I'm telling you, man, it's like, this spring for us shooting commercials is kind of like that. I'm like, oh, I should be turkey hunting today, but I got to do these 4 commercials, whatever this today. But and I'm sure you've heard this a lot too. But must be nice to hunt for a living. Right. Man, if that's what I did if that's all I did for a living, like if everyone would leave me alone and it was just me, my wife, and kids on a big ranch in Texas, and I literally went and killed things, and then somebody handed me money. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's kind of what I do.
You're like, what's Dan Drake want now? Dan, you want me to be funny again? I already did one thing for you. Are you sure?
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. I'm like, dude, we got that covered, right?
And you're like, wait, now I got to negotiate TV time, and I know it's a whole business.
It's a lot. Like people don't realize the complexity of it, and then you deal with so many different entities to be able to do what you do. You're trying to keep this many people happy. I mean, fortunately, we freaking kill it. I'm not trying to be a narcissist. It's not like I would ever wear a T-shirt with my own face on it or anything. But
are you going to pull?
I'm just saying.
Those pistols from Whistle Dixie. That's awesome.
So it's Clint Eastwood's body, my guns, and my face. You can pick those up at our website.
It's online at my merch shop if you want it.
Hey, I'm telling that was. I did this for me and my dad. I don't care if anybody buys a single T-shirt. That right there, that was always our favorite movie. Growing up watching Outlaw Josie Wales with my dad, man, that's by far the best movie that's ever been made, in my humble opinion. Tombstone's pretty close up there, though.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, I do not want to take up your entire evening. I told you it'd be 30 minutes. We're almost an hour here. You've got the Masonic Lodge to go up and bless up there tonight, and your kids to take home that are coughing in the truck. So
I told them, it's just like that meme that says like, "Okay, kids, allergies," and they're like, "Coronavirus." I'm like, okay, that's such a stigma now. If you have a coughing child,
they're like, you gotta go get tested. Yeah.
I'm like, people still get colds and they still get sinus infections and they still get bronchitis, just relax. So we might all have COVID. Who knows?
Yeah. Different
I ain't
discussion.
scared.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. I really appreciate it.
Thank
I
you, bro.
appreciate all that you do with us, and it's
Yes,
just been
sir.
a
Well,
great
hey,
partnership.
hey, look, and we didn't even get into it as much as I wanted to on the seriously the way Scent Crusher. You guys have changed the way I hunt 100%. Like it's amazing how redneck I can be in my own element. Like the person that I want to be, I can be because of Scent Crusher, because I
Sit
can
around the
do
fire, hang out, and it doesn't matter. Yep.
my man. I can do
Yep.
whatever I want to do, and then I throw all of my stuff into this magical closet, and I push a button, and then we're good for the hunt. It just makes so much sense. It's ridiculous. I mean, such great products, man. We cannot thank you enough for your partnership and honestly, like I said, everything that we work toward is trying to be authentic and trying to say, I can't lie to my fans and say I would use this product if I really wouldn't. And it's changed the way we hunt 100%. And I absolutely love it. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Thank you, and use it this year in good health, because
Yes, sir.
it's going to be a good fall.
Oh, we're fixing to roll to Texas and do some killing, man. We're gonna need that Scent Crusher. We're gonna be sweating down there, so it'll be good.
Well, it's good seeing you, Kip. Thanks so much, and
Thank you,
tell your
brother.
family good night for us too.
All right, brother. Y'all
All
take
right.
care, man.
Take
See
care.
you guys.
Bye-bye.